It's 4:00, everybody. Let's get going. Welcome back to Boroughs and Burbs, the podcast that takes you on a tour of the world's most luxurious real estate markets. On today's episode, we're diving into the European luxury market, and we're thrilled to have Øyvind Olstad, a real estate expert that I met in Barcelona, or was it Palm Springs, or maybe it was Chicago. But anyway, he's always all over the world. Very excited to have him here. And he's a lover of all things opulent. And he's going to be joining us. I think he was thinking that he might go to Spain to do this episode, but instead he's in Norway. He's in downtown Oslo. And that's where we're going to do the show. And he's going to walk into the restaurant, and then he's going to show us from the perspective of the restaurant, but he's going to start out there on the streets of Oslo. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why listen to a show about luxury European real estate? Well, let's be real. Who doesn't love living vicariously through the lifestyles of the rich and famous, from the great estates in the English countryside, which I'm going to ask you about, penthouses overlooking the Mediterranean? There's something magical about Europe that draws us all in. That's why we're here. So grab your caviar and your champagne. Join us as we peel back the curtain on this fascinating market. And with that, Øyvind, take it away. Where are you now?
Broadcasting directly from the port of Oslo, overlooking the bay of Oslo here. We have, it was really beautiful introduction, John, you had there. Thank you very much for that. But it's the bay here. You see behind me, you heard about the painter?
Edvard Munch. Yes, exactly. The Scream.
The Scream, yeah. So this is the new Munch Museum in the bay of Oslo. And you have the Opera House. They took down the lights a little bit, because I was thinking that we should start having this podcast in the roof top bar there. But they are closing at 10 o'clock, so we need to be here in this beautiful restaurant instead, in Iki, in the port of Oslo. You see, this is one of the new residential beautiful places in Oslo. They build new apartments in the port here, and constructed a new skyline called Barcode behind.
It all looks very new and very shiny. Life must be good in Norway right now. Very rich economy, right?
Yeah, it's good. We were lucky. I think like 40, 50 years ago, when we found petroleum in the sea, and the Norwegian was fishermen and farmers mostly, and then it came somebody to Norway and helped us with starting the business, and then so the life is good there, but the people are still really good workermen, and so we are yeah, so that's good. I want to bring you in here to the restaurant, so I can sit properly in my. It might be some noise here, because you know it's 10 o'clock in the evening, and people are out eating dinner and sitting in the bars. So, but so I found myself a nice place here.
No, you sound just fine, and I think it's very exciting to be downtown where all the action is. So you're in downtown at your friend's restaurant, and we've seen the harbor. Now, you sell the harbor, or do you mostly sell the big estates outside of town?
We are selling both, because these apartments in the harbor here have been developed now since. It's two different harbors here. It's another one on the other bay. This started in the 80s, and then this is still the most expensive apartments in the harbor. But this is another part of Oslo. That actually this was where Oslo started. Oslo 100 years ago was only 30,000 people. Now it's like 600,000 people in Oslo. And now the first apartments and the first buildings in Oslo was just here like 100 years ago. And now they've constructed these beautiful properties here down on this side with the new, it's close to the central station. and that's important, to if you want to go to the airport, like 10-20 minutes. So we are to be short on your question, we are selling here and we are selling countryside, and means countryside. Then we, during pandemic, the countryside properties increased a lot because people, like rest of the world is the same. They went up a lot, and people are want to go out on the countryside and with the family, and they can work remotely. That happened during pandemic here as the rest of the world.
All right, I'm going to show my screen, and we're going to talk about where in the world you are right now. So I've got on my screen right now a map of Norway, and you're in Oslo, which is got a port in the south. And you said you were 10 minutes from the airport. So I presume that if I'm working in London, is it a cheap and quick flight over to Oslo, and then a quick and cheap flight over to maybe Lillehammer for skiing, or into the northern islands? How far is it, and how inexpensive, how easy is it to get to other places?
From London to Oslo, it's like 2 hours plane, and you can get really good prices from with the plane. From London to Oslo, it's between like $50 to $150. You fly between there, and the same if you want to go to New York. It's like it's like $500, maybe less, to come here. And to the airport is 20 minutes with train, and to get to the north of Norway, where we have a really beautiful landscape, and maybe what Norway is mostly famous about is the fjords and the north, the nature in the north. The Lofoten in the north, where I'm selling some really beautiful plots as well for construction.
All right. So since you brought it up, let's talk about what do you call it? Let me see if I can find it again. Okay. So yeah. I have to zoom in, and we'll zoom in again. Where's Oslo? Did I lose Oslo?
Yeah, you got to go.
Now we are around UK, isn't it?
There we are, Norway.
There we are. Yeah. You know the map.
And John, you're going, and you're selling islands up here.
We are selling the north of Norway with, for instance, Lofoten, this area.
Where is that in relation to, where is Norfolk? I can't find it on this map.
You see Bodø, a little bit up.
Still further north.
Yeah.
Still further north.
Should be.
Still more.
Yeah. Are we on the right?
No, I think I've gone too far. All right.
Yeah.
But at any rate, Lofoten looks like this.
Exactly.
Okay.
So up there, you will have during the summer you have a light 24/7. And then you have the midnight sun, we call it, and in the winter you have the northern lights. It's like you see on that pictures there. So I think in the future we will have more. Already now it's a lot of people coming from all over the world to explore this area, especially from China, and you have a lot, of course, from US as well, because we have a lot of Norwegian people who like the rest of the world, people came to US in the year 1800, wasn't it? And where everybody and it was maybe the first one coming there in after the Indians was a Norwegian, Leif Eriksson.
Right, we've heard of him. We heard about him in the history books. All right, exactly. So let's recap. You're in Oslo, and you're selling both the city of 600,000 people, the ski resorts and the islands in the north of Norway. But you also just came from Spain, where you are part of a whole European network of luxury real estate sellers. And you are, and that's how things get done. It's a little loud there. And that's how things get done in Europe, which is fascinating to us because in America, we rely a good deal on the MLS, you know, and websites and data. But what you've told me is that it's really much more reliant on a personal network over there in Europe. Is that the case?
I thought actually this was the same in US as well, but because you need to know the right people to find the right properties. And what I maybe told you was that very often people don't want to list the property because they don't want to show that they are selling the property.
Right.
Because they don't want to tell everybody that they're selling it.
Right.
That's why they want to list, and they want to have it through an agent that know a lot of people and having a round table sitting, and they send it between them because we maybe much know who is the buyer. Another thing is that if you some people don't want to buy something that's listed as well, because that's maybe more normal in the commercial real estate, where you have is hardly never listed when you are in the commercial real estate, because then you know the investors. So and then the same with the development plots on land, then you sell it directly to the developer. So that's what we do as well. So in Spain, for instance, through Spain, people are coming from all over Europe, and maybe from Middle East as well. And then it's not they don't. If you put it online all the time, people think it's not sold, and they want to take the price down. So then you need to have it a little bit off market, because you need to take it off market sometimes, because then the client is asking, where is the property? And then they're coming back, you know? So
same thing is happening here. But I do think that the European way is a bit different. I do think that the Americans do rely a good deal more on Zillow.com, Realtor.com, and a broad United States data platform online. They tell us that most people do their search online and then they contact a realtor in the luxury market, but they don't want to appear to be ignorant of the market, you know, when they arrive. So they do a great deal of research online first, or they try.
Exactly.
It's a little bit loud where you are. It got a lot louder. They must be having a good time in Oslo.
So is somebody speaking here, maybe talking, and it's okay now, or
no? It's a little loud. So
should I go somewhere else?
Yeah. It's okay. Maybe you want to walk around while we talk. I don't know.
Anyway, I can do that as well. Yeah.
Scott, do you want to ask a question, or I mean, I'll dive into who's buying next.
I'm curious about the size of the marketplace. I mean, so what's a average size sale in Oslo? And I mean, what's the high end of the market? You know, what sort of price range is the high end of the market? And are there like 50 high end or 5,000 high end apartments in Oslo?
So this changed a lot during the last years, because like, let's say the last 10 years, maybe like rest of the world as well, the Norwegians got more wealthy. So so what we saw the last about 10 years is that a normal, maybe the most expensive property in Oslo 10 years ago was like $2 million. Now it's like we have some of these penthouses in the port close to where I'm now. They say like 35 million, you know.
32 million to 35 million.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, but it was maybe this apartment wasn't for sale. You know, it was just constructed 10 years ago, but it wasn't for sale. So now it was. If it comes for sale now, it's a few properties that goes for like 10 million and up. This is quite normal here now.
Who buys $10 million apartments in Norway?
People who want to live here, of course. But yeah, it's billionaires. We call it. You know, to be a billionaire in Norwegian crowns, it's like 1/10 of a billionaire in US dollars. So, but it's everyone from like lawyers to investors to doctors to.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Are these Eastern Bloc and Soviet people buying in Oslo? Like,
No,
it's not the same profile as London.
no, it's not. It's the same as no, it's not. It's not coming
Are
people
these
from
Norwegians
Russia.
or are they foreigners who are buying?
Mostly Norwegian, but there are of course people coming. I heard yesterday that in the mountains, then we're talking about the most expensive chalets in the most prestigious slopes, you know, and in the winter resorts. There are coming people now from US, from Germany, from UK to buy because they are it's difficult with the snow conditions in the middle of Europe.
So this is one that
There.
you're selling. Is this on the island or is this in the Alps?
This is this is like 2.5 hours from Oslo, drive with car. This is for this is $3.7 million.
Okay. Is it near Lillehammer ski?
If you go there a little bit up now and on the picture, you can see more pictures of the property. If you scroll it on to the right there, you see, you can scroll on the picture. You have more pictures. It's close to it is where Tommy Moe won the Olympic gold medal in 1994 in Lillehammer.
It's beautiful. So this is what luxury looks like in Scandinavia.
Exactly. Yeah.
A lot of wood.
How hard is it to build? I mean, I look at Norway, and you have a very big country that's very spread out without a whole lot of population in different areas. So how hard is it to build a house like this? And does it take a year or 2 years, or do you have any idea?
Less than a year. And in this area is really good regulations because the municipality had made regulations ready, so you can just, if the plot is ready to build, so you in this plot you can build like 3,000 square feet, 4,000 square feet on this plot, and it takes less than a year because I think I had my own chalet that I constructed 14 years ago. I bought the plot in June, and it was ready in Christmas. And then it was timber from actually Latvia, yeah, Lithuania. No, not Latvia. So it's they are ready. The teams that building this kind of chalets, they are ready to build it, and so if the buyer coming to build this, this is quite quick, yes.
And are most of the houses, are they built on a speculative basis? So does somebody buy the land and put up a house and then sell it? Or do people build them custom for themselves?
Normally they do it for themselves, but somebody do it. Maybe they think that this is a good investment, so they will if they put this amount of money into the plot, they think that they will get it back. But then you should sell it during 2 to 5 years, because it's always changing the style. And before it's coming more loud music here too.
That is an incredibly beautiful house. I can't believe it's only $3.7 million. And I really can't believe that you can build it in less than a year. Scott, how long would it take you to build that? And what would you charge?
Well, the permitting would take a year.
Right, right.
That's where you start. And that's if you're as of right. No, so for building a 3,000 square foot house, that's not that a year is something that's definitely very doable. But the permitting is a huge problem and very difficult. Take a lot longer.
So you should come over here then, and we cooperate. You know.
Well, I've even had a friend that got called up to build something in Connecticut, and he's from Florida. And after about a year, he called me up and said, "How do you guys build anything? I mean, just the regulations are beyond comprehension to somebody that doesn't have to deal with them."
This is my friend Lars. Is coming with if this was alcohol, was it okay? No.
So what are you drinking?
It's a drink, but I don't know if what it is inside. But is that allowed, John?
It's after 4. It's after 5. You're welcome to drink anything.
After 5? It's coming another one here. Yeah. They're spoiling me with the nice drinks there now. Yeah.
All right, we got to get back to serious stuff here.
Yeah.
The economy. On the one hand, it's been tremendously good in Norway because of the energy prices have been rising, and the sovereign fund in Norway has got a lot of money. On the other hand, we've heard a lot of talk about a recession in Europe because of those energy prices and because of the uncertainty. So are you finding that uncertainty is having an impact on your business, or are you far enough away from the conflict that you're not seeing a direct effect?
I mean, we of course, it's obvious that it's an effect of the war and the energy prices and the everything in the material prices. But everybody think that this is just not a recession. You think it's like a little bit pending market. We're waiting for what's going to happen. I think this is maybe the same all over Europe and maybe in US as well. But you have to do. If I start with Norway, then you just told that Norway is actually earning a lot of money on the war. That's not a good thing, but we are helping out Ukraine too, like a lot of the rest of the world. So the Norwegian wealth fund increased by it's like 40% during the last year because of the energy prices. But the normal person in the street, like living in their house, of course, they are feeling the energy prices. But we are getting a lot of help from the government to pay the bills. So I don't think really it will be. I think it's good for people as well to suffer a little bit, because then they remember to be more happy for what they have. So and when we're thinking about, for instance, I had a talk before this. I did some really good research with my friends in London, and our friends. I have to mention them. It's Stratton Parker with Ed Thompson. I talked with him, and he said that it's the same as in Norway, and the normal people are suffering a little bit, but the market is in London went up quite much because and some parts of London it's like from 50 to 75% of the the area is buyers from international buyers. So and the rental prices went up 50% since 2021. So the luxury market is not suffering in London. The same in Marbella in south of Spain. I believe it's the same effect. You know, in Spain you have the luxury markets is mainly in Marbella region in Andalusia. You have Mallorca and you have Ibiza, and I believe it's the same there. And the agents down there with Peter Buresten in Marbella Estates, he tell me that the prices in Marbella for increased with 22%, and the rental prices increased with 30%. And there is coming people from Ukraine and Russia to buy, and from Poland. So they're getting effects from the different effects from the war around Europe. Is that the answer on the questions?
Yeah, that's a good answer. I mean,
Yeah.
we get stories over here about them turning off the gas, right? And we think, oh, there must be a crisis going on in Europe where they're turning off the heat in the winter, and transportation costs, you know, are out of this world, and things are starting to break down. But it sounds like you're talking about two distinctly different markets. That while the people the luxury market is actually quite insulated from the war. Is that true?
Yeah, seems like it's really true, because and it's a little bit sad that it's the normal people that's suffering, of course. But since we are, but I think that will run over more quickly than, especially for Norway. I don't think we will have a real recession now. And both our partners in London and in Marbella as well, they say that it's quite positive signals from the market that we will not really have a recession. I don't know how it's in the US. You think it's a recession, or is it just something that goes over?
My answer is this: that while we are talking a good deal about Fed tightening and monetary policy and inflation are having an effect on the economy, I will say that the luxury market, when we talk to the folks in Palm Beach and in Los Angeles, none of them are talking about deflation of real estate. None of them are talking about prices going down in any of the key luxury markets. And when we ask them why, they say that we have been underbuilding for a decade, and Scott can talk to that, but we've been building too few homes for more than a decade, and that there is more demand than supply, and even these Fed tightening and monetary policy can't ignore that fact. Right, Scott?
No, it's definitely, the high end is you know, knock on wood here, but the high end should continue to do reasonably well for the foreseeable future. And there's definitely a housing shortage, and a shortage of affordable housing across virtually all of the United States in at least desirable or average type communities. So there is a shortage. And so in Norway, does the government control any of the rental housing, or is it all privately owned?
It's more or less privately owned. It's not the government is not only owning so much. Maybe something because they want to take care of some people. But in Norway, 90% of all Norwegians are owning their houses where they live. Mm-hmm. So only 10% is renting. They are renting. we are expecting that this will go up because it's getting more difference between people. So the wealthiest getting more wealthy, and the same as the rest of the world maybe. And we are expecting that 20 to 25% of all people will rent their house or home during a few years. So it will be a good place for people to come and invest in rental homes.
Now, also, I mean, Norway has, like most of the Western world, Norway has a demographic problem with not enough replacement people, replacement births. What's the average size family in Norway? And do most people have 1, 2, or 3 bedroom houses or apartments? And does that change whether or not you're in the city or in the suburbs?
I think that it has, I heard like in the news now that it has never been more single people than now. This may be a trend that people are, they can be more independent. And a lot of people are choosing not to have kids as well. So people are, so it's everything, you know, have everything from people who choose to not have kids to people who have like 2 kids, maybe. But some people have like 4 or 5 kids too. So it's, we have everything. I don't know exactly. I will, maybe it's like 1.8 kids or something. Is maybe the average for a family, for all families. So, but the people, when they what they do is that when they like to live really central when they have when they're young, you know, and then they move out of the city. And now with this remote opportunities to work from home, people are moving out and buying family houses on the countryside. And even now, so they're building new railways and better roads. So people maybe they can live like 2 hours away, and it's no problem. And they go to the office one time a week or something. It's maybe the same in New York and Connecticut.
Talk to me about the Norway economy. Basically, who are all these rich people and where are they making their money? Are they making it on tech, fish? You know, I mean, is it fishing? Is it natural resources, wood? You know, what's the economy? What's driving the economy besides oil?
It's an increasing amount of lawyers. And you have tech, yes, you have tech, and you have more finance. You have people who sold their company in tech or finance, or real estate agents are of course a lot of people who, some of them are earning some good money, you know.
How about manufacturing? Or is it a good play? Are people? I know that, you know, several of these. You know, Ireland wanted to be a finance capital, and Iceland wanted to be a finance capital. Everybody wants to be a finance capital. Everybody can't be a finance capital. So a lot of people are now starting to look at being at switching manufacturing instead of in the Far East, trying to get it done. Is that a thing in Norway, or is labor cost too expensive?
It's not so much a manufacturing here. It's we maybe have we have some brands, but the production is in other countries, in China, in Balticum, and different places like that. So
how about tourism? Are you interconnected with the rest of Europe and dependent on tourism? I know that you're selling islands, rather remote islands, and that's got to be to a tourist oriented market, right?
But we are. I wouldn't say there is a lot of people who is wealthy in the tourism market. It's not. But maybe some people are earning good money on restaurants and tourism like that. But,
okay, you're selling that spot on the map that I'm showing now, that little red dot on the map. That is far away from Oslo. That's far away from everything. Now I'm going to start showing the pictures. It's beautiful. So what had occurred to me is that you are dependent a bit on tourism, ecotourism, that people are drawn to Norway and Scandinavia for views like this. But it's far away. Is it getting a lot closer with cheap airlines, Ryanair, and some of the other cheap European airlines? Is it just becoming a little bit easier to get to and a little bit more accessible?
Actually, it's not so far away as you think, because it takes like 1.5 hours from Oslo with the plane up there. And from London takes like 2 hours to Oslo. And then if you sit in the car and you want to go to your countryside from New York, maybe you want to use like 2-3 hours in the car anyway. So it's not so far to get up there and have the opportunity to look at this kind of nature and use that. We actually have some of the most beautiful beaches up there, and some surfing opportunities too. So, but it seems to be far away. But of course, Norway is a long country. Actually, from north to south in Norway, it's like the same distance as from south to Rome. It's
and
like
what are
1.5 hours.
And what are you selling up there?
We are selling fresh air. We're selling activities, adventures, skiing, fishing, and of course, a lot of people just want to sit inside a small chalet to drink some red wine and feel the hard nature, the wind outside.
No, I meant, what are you physically selling? Are you selling condominiums? Or are you going to sell me a farm?
Yeah, I have different opportunities up there. You can buy a plot of land where you can construct 500 chalets, like overwater bungalows. You know, like same type as you have in Maldives. You can construct up there, and you can make an hotel, a resort, and it's a big demand for this type of properties up there, because in the summer it's not enough accommodation in the area, because you have like for $300. Then you get some really low standards, and then there are high demand for this kind of properties up there. And the same, you can also buy small chalets there. It's like $500,000. You get a really nice cabin up there. And then you can look at the scenery and the midnight sun and the northern lights during the winter. So that's, yeah.
David Reese asked a question in the chat just about, is there prefabricated manufactured housing on a luxury basis? So, I mean, can you buy a already almost sort of built house that shows up on a truck that you then build in these locations? Or are there enough local craftsmen and construction company people to handle doing significant building?
I think the most, when you construct this, you would do it like on a modular basis, mostly, because you have a really good quality in that direction too. So, so it's not, there are construction companies up there, but the normal small, you have some small resorts up there, like a small, like 10 to 15 different cabins. You can rent it by the sea, and these are normally constructed by local handymen, you know, and handymen. And but in this kind of, I think in the really close future, you will have some construction up there with more like an industrial way.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So this is where we lean in and we ask you for all your secrets. So for all of us who want a second home in Europe, where are the good deals and how do you get a good deal? I mean, is Spain on sale these days? How about Greece? I mean, we've spent a good deal of time talking about the Norwegian islands, and I get that. But,
Yeah.
you know, certainly you've got to have your ear to the ground throughout Europe. And what do you think is the next big thing? I know my daughter suddenly got interested in Portugal this year and took a trip over there and said, we have to go over there, Dad. So where else? Where are the next big thing in Europe?
We could have talked a lot about Portugal. I think I believe the same as your daughter, that Portugal is coming because it's quite affordable to buy in Portugal. So all this, Algarve coast is up and coming. We could have talked about that. I didn't do the really deep research now recently, but I was there this summer in Algarve and talked with the agents down there, and we believe that this is one of the markets that's really coming now. But still, people want to. If you think about, they need some more development of the area. It's still a little bit underdeveloped, the area. Then we're talking about restaurants and activities. So we're still, I believe, really much still in Spain, south of Spain, Marbella region seem for me that doesn't stop at all. And we got this is a really luxury market where and around Malaga is Google is making a new main office, like a tech valley in Malaga. So a lot of people, it's really much flights from London to and all the big cities in Europe down to Malaga, and they have like 320 days a year with sunrise, nice sunny days. So Malaga region with Marbella and all this will still be really strong. And the same, of course, south of France is.
Wait a minute. Wait. Keep going on Marbella and Malaga. Why?
Yes.
I've never heard anybody talk about Malaga and Marbella.
No. Yeah,
Oh.
That's interesting.
So do you fly into Madrid and then take a train?
None. You go there.
JFK.
Somebody wrote there, JFK is going direct plane from JFK to Malaga.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know, but somebody wrote it on the screen there. But I know that it's from London to Malaga. It's like you get Ryanair from nothing, you don't pay nothing. It's like 50 pounds or $50 or less. And this is a really growing. So Marbella has been the place for people from Madrid when they wanted to go for luxury retreats for many decades. But this is a market where they are really feeling that the prices went up like 22%. My partner down there told me, and we have kind of developments there now that where you can invest and you will get like 15% guaranteed return of investment.
Wow.
Doesn't sound so high, but it's like a guarantee. So you will know that you get your money back and the 15% on the top.
How would you describe the vibe? Is it like Florida back in the good old days?
Yeah, you can compare Marbella with Florida a little bit, like with Miami. It's a little bit like that. Yeah, you should go there. But you like 2 weeks ago you had your friends in California, the two women.
Yes.
They told about, she was from Ronda. That was Ronda up in, you have been in Ronda, you told.
Rota, R-O-T-A. Yeah, Rota.
Ronda.
I haven't been to Rumba.
Ronda. Yeah, you haven't been to Ronda. Okay, but this woman was from Ronda. It's just outside. Doesn't matter. It's not so important. But this is an area where it's still really good. So everybody is coming down there, and from Europe, from Germany, from UK, there is a lot of people from, and there is people from Ukraine and Russia living together and no problems, you know. That's a good thing. It's not a war between the people, it's a war between the crazy leaders.
So how are real estate transactions financed in different parts of Europe? So in the United States, it's traditional to get some sort of a 30-year mortgage, and the interest rate may float or it may be fixed. And so we use a lot of leverage, anywhere from 80 to 95% leverage. What's available in different parts of Europe for financing?
You need to put on this project that I talked about now. You put like you put the 50% equity, and then you get the rest from the bank. But normally you can get better. Depends on your income, of course, and your opportunities you paid. So in Norway, you get 85% mortgage when you do it on your private income. For the companies, it's maybe less.
Sure. And what sort of percentage, what sort of interest rate are mortgages these days?
And now it's like for private, like 4% for private, and like 6% for the commercial real estate developers.
Cool.
Of course, it depends on somebody get a better price too, but and of course they are. It's more difficult to get this mortgage now for everybody than before, but there are a lot of things happening in the market. These times it gives a lot of opportunities too. So we can get the plot of land much lower, better price, and you find other directions.
Sure.
So what about you? What are you doing the most of the time now?
John, you can probably answer that better. For interest rates, and what type of mortgages do people ask for these days?
Well, so the shift, so that once again, it's two markets. There's the super luxury market, and for them, they're trying, if they're taking out a mortgage, it's because they're trying to conserve cash and take advantage of opportunities during and imbalances during the possible recession. Taking advantage, on the stock market and bond opportunities. So they're trying to conserve cash, but there's plenty of financing available. Banks are not tightening up. In fact, banks are scrambling right now to try and write mortgages because the volume of deals has gone down by 50% or more since in the last couple of years. There's just not that much inventory on the market. And this is a national problem, not just a Northeast problem, but they don't have enough inventory in Connecticut, LA, they don't have San Diego. All of these markets have complained about too little inventory. And that means that the banks have far fewer transactions to finance. They're getting creative and they're offering people adjustable rate mortgages and telling them that if you don't like your 6% or your even 5.5% mortgage now, then just expect to refinance it in the next few years when the rates come down. So that's sort of the mood right now. A lot of people are whether you're a first-time home buyer buying your first house, picking up a adjustable rate mortgage, or because you're an investor trying to conserve cash. Scott, you build in the luxury market. When I say, are you worried? You say to me, no, I've got a pipeline several years in advance. I've got several years of pipeline of work in front of me. So a lot of the very wealthy, after the liquidity we've experienced in the market and the run up in the stock market for the last several years, there's a lot of liquidity, and those projects are not being canceled, are they, Scott? They're moving forward. The mood is still good.
At the high end of the market, the mood is still very good. The further down you go, the more dicey it becomes. And because of high construction prices and higher interest rates, the lower end is definitely having trouble. Because if you have to borrow money and you have to, you're paying more for the money and you're paying more for what you're getting, that definitely puts a strain on. So we're hearing at the lower end, things are more complicated and tougher. But the higher end, again, seems to still be very vibrant.
Seems like it's the same over there, like most of the Europe as well. So that's an okay thing, but it's sad that the normal people are suffering. So, but very soon we are everybody back again. I think we feel, the government here is saying that this is not something they think is a recession, especially in Norway. Maybe it's worse in UK, in Spain and Portugal, for instance, for normal people.
Yep.
So talk to us about realtors, real estate professionals, the importance of brands. It occurs to me that in America, we have experienced consolidation among a lot of the top real estate agencies. Several of them, I won't name names, but 4 or 5 of the big agencies have gone acquiring regional players. So if you're a big New York agency, 3 or 4 of the big New York agencies have now expanded to Florida and expanded to California, and now expanded to Aspen, and have basically picked off some of the luxury markets across the country. Are you seeing the same kind of consolidation in the luxury real estate space in Europe that we're seeing in America? I mean, specifically, Compass has made a big splash in the last couple of years. Berkshire Hathaway is aggressively, expanding. Douglas Elliman expanding. So you're seeing a lot of the New York-based brands like Douglas Elliman expanding into what I would call regional markets like Denver and Aspen and Texas, and Dallas. So are you seeing the same kind of thing going on in Europe, or do I have to work with a Norwegian company, and when I go to Spain, I have to work with a Spanish company?
You see the same. You see the same in Europe. But it's more regional. So if in Norway you have really, it used to be in Norway, it used to be like small shops on every corner. We're talking about 25 to 30 years ago, and later the banks took over. So it's the banks that's owning the real estate groups now. So they have the Norwegian bank. They have the big, it's the biggest. They have, they're selling, like, doesn't sound so much for you, but it's like 25,000 houses a year. The same is another bank. And the big brands here in Norway, it's not big compared to US, but so it's consolidation and it's franchise. It's difficult to get, I had the Christie's, I was the affiliate of Christie's for Norway. And it was, I don't need to talk so much about that, but it was for me, it was a success because I got the most beautiful houses for sale, but the market didn't understand it that much. But it's the same all over Europe too. So it's the big it's consolidation all over. And but there are some countries that are a little bit behind on this field. But we you know, you have in Europe, you have the same same brands like these Engels and Furkers are big in Europe, and you have they are some of them are some of the agents are organized in, for instance, Christie's or Sotheby's on the high end, but on the low end it's more like a lot of different brands, but you don't know it, but it's on the local arena. It's they are strong.
So what I hear you saying is that it's still very country by country for the lower end of the market, and that a few brands, European brands, have emerged, like Engel and Volker, for the very high-end properties, and they work across Europe. But most of the business is regional and controlled country by country. That true?
More country by country. So if you want to buy something in South of Europe, for instance, in Côte d'Azur, in Cannes, then you need to contact the agents that you go maybe into a website, and then you see, okay, is somebody here talking my language? And then you contact them. So and you have Knight Frank, you know.
Are they one of the major European brands? Because I think of them as mostly London.
It's London. It's but you have in Cannes, you have in Marbella, as I told you before, and you have but you have as well Christie's in Stockholm. You have in Germany. You have in Switzerland. So they are still up and running. I don't know if Christie's is in so much in UK now, because Stratton Parker went out for. They were acquired by BNP Paribas. So, but it's always changing in this market, you know. You know it yourself. It's like somebody's strong in this region, and then it's a little bit changing all the time. So
wait, you're saying that the French bank bought Stratton Parker, and that is something that is also going on in Norway. Is that going on all over Europe, or just a Norway phenomenon that banks own real estate brokerages?
I think that is more normal in Norway than other countries. Yeah. But you see that BNP Paribas both acquired. I think they acquired them. They have a co-branding there, so I think it can be only like a corporation too, but it looks like it's something they acquired, because and then I don't see the Christie's brand anymore on that on their logo.
So we're almost at the top of the hour. What do you want to tell us here in America? What do you want to tell us? You've got a lot of realtors, you got some builders, you got some architects. I see Pete down there in the corner of my screen. Pete's a phenomenal architect. Scott's a phenomenal builder. What does Norway need? Of course, you want buyers. What kind of buyers?
I told you just before that it's going to go up from 10 to 25% of properties for renting out to people who want living in their house. So I think that it will be an increase of rental apartments. So it could be good for investors to come here and invest in apartments construction, and the same in commercial real estate, and as well for and what I wanted to say is that we should dig into the rest of the market together a little bit later. So I think we should have another talk soon again, because then we can bring in some of our partners and talk more deeply with them about different markets.
Yep, I would like that. We're going to definitely go do some more shows in Europe. Does anybody in the audience have one final question or one interesting story? If not, I'd like to thank you for a really great and illuminating, look. I mean, at Europe, I mean, I know we spent a good deal of time on Norway, but I think that you were able to successfully paint a picture over how Europe is dealing with potential recession. You're saying what recession? You're talking about oil wealth in Norway, and so not all of the countries are affected by the energy crisis in the same way, or the war in the same way. You say that the mood is good and the building is good in Norway and throughout Europe. So I think this is very encouraging. And I think you ended by saying, send the investors, that you've got some good investments for them, as well as some destination properties. Did I get that right?
That's right. And then they send some investors back to you as well, of course. And I thank you as well, because it was a really nice conversation we had. And I adore you for this really good podcast. And I'm listening to you every time. You are a star for me, since we met the first time. It was in Scottsdale, Arizona.
You are the star for me, because I think that you take it for granted that everybody trots around the globe like you do, making personal connections with realtors. I mean, I only left my house twice in the last 10 years and went to 2 conferences, and you were at both of them. And I think to myself, man, this guy works hard and he knows everybody, and he knows the folks in Scottsdale, and he knows the people in Spain. And so I am so honored to have you on the show. And I think this is really great. And I think everybody on this show would profit from writing to you and connecting with you if they have any interest in Europe whatsoever. So thank you, my friend, Øyvind.
Thank you.
It's been great. It's been far too long. And I'll see you again, maybe in a month or so. We'll do it again.
Very good. I see you, and I'm coming to visit you in New Canaan.
Anytime you want. We've got room.
Okay. Good
Ciao.
afternoon. Good ciao.
And everybody else, we're going to be back in New York, and we're going to be talking to 3 of the top New York interior designers next week. We're going to talk about their ideas to transform a house or an apartment with fabric and textiles. So that's what we've got going on the show next week. And hopefully I'll get Roberto back. He's traveling to Canada today, so couldn't be with us. But we miss you, Roberto. Thank you, everybody. See you next week.
Ciao.